Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Stepping Stones Live. I'm your host, CL Thompson, and this is the show where we bring a little bit of seriousness, silliness, spirituality, all to your social media experience in one simple show. Man, I'm so glad you're tuned in right now. Hey, do me a favor, like, share, post, come kick it with us for 1 hour, man. This show will definitely change your life. We want to help you take steps in the right direction in your life. So let's get ready to have a good time, man. We got a great show planned for you today. I'm excited about everything that's going on. And let me just give you a little bit of a taste of what we got going on today's show. Today, we will be ending our series on holiday hardships. I'll be dealing with how to find peace after a family fallout. Yeah, so I'm sure, Thanksgiving is over, families going back to where they've gone. And if you're like a lot of people, there were some family fallouts that occurred. I want to help you find some peace after a family fallout. On top of that, we're doing probably what is one of my favorite things that we're going to do with this show is we have our very first is going down in the DM guest of the month. What that simply means is this. Hey, it goes down in the DM. We scroll, we look, we see what's going on in social media, whether it be Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. We find people who are doing positive things with their social media feed, and then we slide in their DM and bring them in so we can interview them and talk to them about what's going on in their life and why it's important that they do positive things with social media. So we got that going on. Of course, we've got Wednesday's Wisdom Stone, man, and God's giving me a message to share with you all that will change your life, so you don't want to miss that shortly after the top of the hour. And on top of that, of course, I'm going to answer your questions. We're going to have the Q&A session. So sit back, relax, whether you're driving in your car, watching at home, laying on your couch, on your job. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. This show is all about you. It's not about us. And so I'm excited about what we got going on for today. So let's talk a little bit. The Thanksgiving is over. Families gone back home. Most families gone back home. Everything's kind of settled down a little bit, but maybe there was a family feud that occurred. Maybe a fight happened. Maybe an argument occurred. Maybe some gossip started happening. You know how it goes. I've been there that, Thanksgiving comes, somebody brings a special somebody, and here comes the whisper. Who is that? I don't know who that is. What's going on? Who's that? Ooh, I don't like her. Or, who is that? Ooh, why she with him? Blah, blah, blah. All kinds of stuff happen. Maybe somebody owes somebody some money, and because you guys had avoided each other until the holiday, you were able to kind of not encounter any of that. But now it happened. Now there's a family fallout. Maybe there was an argument. Maybe there was some things said that shouldn't have been said. Maybe, just maybe, you just stopped talking to your family. Maybe it was something on social media. I want to help you recover and find peace after a family fallout. So I'm going to give you some therapeutic tips right now on how to get over a family fallout. And trust me, this is not just for the holiday season. This will help you in your marriage. This will help you in your business. This will help you in your church. These tips will help you just overall in life, get over, some family issues that you're dealing with. And so I hope you got your pen ready. I always say it's better to have a long pencil than a short memory. I hope y'all heard that. Let me say that again. It's better to have a long pencil than a short memory. So let's jump right in because we got so much for this show. So here's the thing. The first thing that I want to tell you and teach you when it comes to getting over a family feud or a family fight with a loved one, with your spouse, or with whoever it is, the first way to finding peace in that situation, write this down, is you need to identify the core reason for the fight. I'm gonna say that again. You need to identify the core reason for the fight. It's just like this. A lot of times we think that when we argue with a significant other or we argue with a family member or we have a fallout, that it's about the topic at hand. But most of the time, that's not really the case. A lot of times there's some underlying issues going on that we don't acknowledge. So, sometimes we say that we're fighting over finances, but really it's not the finances that we're fighting over at all. It's underlying issues of jealousy and resentment and things that have happened in the past. So if you don't identify the core root of the problem, it's kind of what I like to call the weed and feed syndrome. What we tend to do, if you know anything about gardening or doing yard work, there's a chemical called weed and feed. And what weed and feed does is when you spray the weed and feed on the weeds, watch this, the weed dies, but the grass doesn't. However, it's only a temporary fix. Watch this, because the weeds eventually grow back. Wow. Watch what I'm trying to say here. Oftentimes we spray weed and feed on our issues with family, is that we just deal with the topic at hand, and then all of a sudden the animosity still returns, the resentment comes back, the fight still occur. Is because we only put a temporary solution on a problem, so here's the key thing. You have to get to the root of what's going on. If you talk to any landscaper, anybody who does any kind of real gardening, they'll tell you the key to getting rid of weeds is going to the root of the problem, the root of the situation, and digging it up from the root. And as you pull it up from the root, it doesn't give it an opportunity for it to grow back. Can I tell you right now that whatever family member you're fighting with, whatever family member you had a fallout with, get to the root of the issue. Find out. And this requires both parties to be open and honest about how they feel, not sugarcoating things. Man, sometimes, yes, the truth hurts, but also the truth will set you free. So really, really, really dig in and get to the root of the issue. It's almost like if you go to the doctor and you're having some symptoms going on, you go to the doctor to make sure you get a proper diagnosis. Hello, somebody. Watch this. When you go to the doctor, they don't treat the symptoms. They treat the problem, because symptoms look similar, but the problem can be different. So make sure you identify, the core root of the problem, whether it be jealousy, whether it be envy, whether it be something that happened in the past. But don't just spray weed and feed on some of those family issues that you have. You really got to be completely open and honest to really find true healing. The second thing that I want to tell you is that you want to listen to that particular family member with the perspective of understanding. Yeah, we have a hard time, man, listening to people because we come into the argument with preconceived notions. We come into it with our pride up high, and we come into it that we're right. But sometimes you have to go in and listen to really what that particular family member is saying to you and try to see it from their perspective. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. Sometimes it's very illogical. Sometimes it's irrational. But sometimes the common ground is found in hearing it from their perspective. And once you get understanding of their perspective, it'll be easier for you guys to kind of help die down some of the things that are going on. So, understand that understanding is a big part of getting over family feuds and family fallouts. There are a lot of you out there right now who haven't talked to family members in years, maybe even decades, because of a fallout that happened, all because you never understood their perspective and you didn't even try to see it from their perspective. But can I tell you that sometimes seeing it from their perspective will help you understand? And it's okay to agree to disagree, but don't just discount how they feel, because that person's truth is that person's truth. And so if you can understand that that's their truth and not be prideful about it, you can get to the bottom of some of those real core issues to help fix, what's going on in that family dynamic and help recover from that fallout. So that's number 2. Number 3, you definitely want to forgive. You want to forgive that particular family member. And watch this. Let me help you out here. Forgiveness is a free gift that you give yourself. Yeah, I'm gonna say that again. Forgiveness is not for the other person. Man, forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness is a free gift. It doesn't cost you anything to forgive somebody, but it's a gift to you, because watch this. Once you forgive that person, you take back control over your own personal life. You take back control over the situation. Too many times we're having sleepless nights. We're anxious. We're stressed out because we haven't forgiven somebody, and that person that we haven't forgiven isn't even thinking about us. They're sleeping well, they're doing well, and we've done that with family members. Man, yeah, I know that family member might have hurt you. Yeah, I know that family member might have done you wrong. Yeah, I know that family member may owe you something or whatever the case may be. But watch this. Once you forgive them for the transgression, you take back power over your own life, which gives you peace of mind and gives you comfort. And once you can forgive them, and especially if you can talk to them and forgive them, and you guys can start to reconcile, then you can recover from that fallout that you had. But as long as you hold resentment, unforgiveness, bitterness in your heart, watch this, there's no room for love. Guess what? There's only so much room for so much in a person. And so you have to forgive and begin to allow, other things to take root in your heart so you can recover with that family member. And then last but not least, now that you've, identified the issue, now that you've come to an understanding of how that person felt, and now that you've forgiven each other, now you let the healing process begin. And healing takes time. So don't think that this is going to be an overnight process. You may need some therapy. You may need some counseling. You may need to, kind of tread lightly for a little while. But understand that now the healing process has begun, and healing takes time. And here's the one thing that I want to point out about healing. The one thing that I want to point out about the healing process taking place. Just like if you fall and you get a cut or something happens to you and you get a scab, that scab is there for a reason. That scab is part of the healing process. But if you're like me, man, I remember when I was a kid, man, I used to always pick off my scabs. Then it would start bleeding again. Then it would start hurting again. Even one time, man, I picked a scab and ended up getting infected. What am I trying to tell you right now? I'm trying to tell you that if you, have gone through those first 3 steps and now you're in the healing process, please don't beat that family member over the head by picking up the scab that happened. Please don't beat your spouse over the head about their past transgressions. That's like picking at a scab. And watch this, the more you pick at the scab, the more likely the healing process is going to take longer or not even occur at all. And then on top of that, last but not least, it may get infected and it may be worse than what it had to be simply because you kept picking at it and prodding at it. So, those are my tips to help you get over your family feuds and your fallouts. You can find peace after a family fallout, man. We're here to help you with C-steps. If you need some counseling, if you need help, that's what we're here for. That's why we do this show. We do this show to give you tips to help you move forward and bless you. And so I hope those helped. And I hope you take heed. I hope none of you had any family fallouts. But if you do, please use those tips. Please apply those tips to your life, and they will definitely make a big difference. So thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. I see a lot of people are watching. I see people are talking, people are sharing. So thank you so much. But man, I am excited. I couldn't be more excited than this next guest that I'm getting ready to bring on to this show right now. This next guest that I'm getting ready to bring on is the first guest in what we call the Slide in Your DM guest of the month. And so, like I said at the beginning of the show, we watch what's going on in social media. We make sure people are doing some positive things. And, this person is always spreading positivity, always trying to help people do some things. Not only that, this person is a good friend of mine. And I'd like to introduce our Slide in the DM guest of the month, Miss Prophese Fuentes. What's going on, Prophese? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, that's what's up. What's going on? How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm feeling well, thank you. I'm so excited to be on your show today.
Oh man, we are definitely glad to have you. We're just blessed to have your presence on the show today. And you've been a big help to me personally. And we've watched your social media. A lot of us have been watching your social media. So I'm just going to jump right into this thing, not waste any time, not hesitate. So with your social media feed, I see a lot of positive things. I see a lot of scripture. If it's not scripture, it's encouraging words. There's always something that's enlightening. Why do you feel it's important to use your social media platform to really share positive, insightful, enlightening things?
Well, I've got to first say that, first of all, it's for me, and then it's to share out with others. With all these things that are going on in the world today, the negativity that's blowing up, you got to tune those things out. And secondly, just like I see on my news feed scrolling down with negativity, I'd like to just share some positivity on other people's news feed as well. Whether it's saying, have a good day, or have a blessed day, or here's a quote from this author, or here's a quote from the Bible, or here's a statement from my own personal thoughts. You know, I just want to add on a little positivity and colorfulness in your news feed.
I like that. And I think that it's important that you do that, because you said it best. You said it's for you first. And I think, you know, sometimes we fail to realize that there's so much negativity going around that we have to encourage ourselves. One of my favorite songs in the world is by John Lawrence, and it's called Encourage Yourself. And so,
yes.
So what you're saying is sometimes you have to encourage yourself, and you just use the encouragement that you use for yourself to inspire others.
Absolutely. And oftentimes, you know, whether you're in your private moment, there's always something that you end up saying, wow, that's, somebody got to hear this. You know, like, I got to tell somebody about this. Kind of like when, you know, our pastor always says how her father, when he came to know Christ, you know, his famous statement was wait till someone else, or wait till everybody hears about this. That's kind of like what I feel. You know, when I read a scripture and it hits me to my soul, you know, I like to share that. I like to sow that seed onto someone else.
Yeah. And I think that people need that this day and age. I think people really need to be encouraged. And that's one of the reasons that we do this segment each and every month, is because we want to shift the dynamic of people's social media feeds. Because I hear all the time, people saying, you probably heard this before, this is my social media feed. I do what I want. If you don't like it, unfriend me. Yeah, so be it. You know, and that's okay. That's their prerogative. I agree. But if we can do something to encourage people to shift, you know, what they're saying, I think there's enough negativity. So if we can do anything to shift the dynamic of people's social media feed by encouraging them to do so they can be a guest on this show and have a platform to talk about what they're doing, we want to do that. And with that, not only do you use your social media feed to spread positivity and the gospel and things like that, you've got a couple things going on. I want to kind of talk about these independently, and then as we get later on in the show, we'll talk about them. Hopefully there's some questions that come in about what you do. But you have something called Dreams of My Own. Tell us a little bit about Dreams of My Own.
Wow, Dreams of My Own. Now that tagline has been around for so many years before it became a thing. Dreams of My Own is just that. Your dreams are your own, and you should never, ever, ever lay it aside. God is the one who birthed these dreams in you. If you have something in you that you're good at, if you have something in you that you've always wanted to meddle with, or just give back, those things didn't just come to you for nothing. You have to you know, draw into those things and reflect on exactly why you have them in the first place. For years, I have been a single mom. It's already on 7 years now. And before that, I watched my own mom be a single mom while she was married, and then subsequently became a single mom. And so I've been around that strong essence of her and other women in my life. But what I noticed is that her own dreams were laid aside when she became a single mom. It became more of a, I've got to work hard because I have these kids to take care of. But her dreams were laid aside. And then later on, sometimes it becomes resentment or something like that. I did not want to do that. I did not want to do that because, you know, being a single mom or a single parent, it's not a deterrent. It's not a disability. It's not a handicap. You are still blessed with the same children that God blessed you with when you had a union, when you were married, or when you had a partner. And so I wanted that to be the essence of what Dreams of My Own is. And so just throughout the years, it gave me the opportunity earlier this year to just launch that and reach out to single parents, single moms, single dads, and not just feed into what society wants to hear about the statistics. you know, that you're a single mom. And so immediately what you hear is like, there's a benevolent factor. Like, you're going to be in need of money. You're going to be in need of things. And it's not always about that. And so I launched Dreams of My Own to uplift other single parents that go through things like this, that feel stuck. And pretty much that's the root of it.
Wow. Wow. And I think, you know, it's so important that single mothers and single fathers know that there's support out there and encouragement, because I counsel a lot of single parents, both male and female. And one of the biggest things they struggle with is adjusting to not having the support that they really need, or feeling not necessarily that they need assistance, but they just need encouragement and support, you know, to have somebody kind of cheering them on. And who doesn't like having a good cheerleader in their corner and rooting for them? And so I commend you for Dreams of My Own, but I love that Dreams of My Own is not the only thing that you're doing, and it kind of has expanded to something more in your professional field. Tell us about Integris Resolution Services, and what's that about, and why is it beneficial?
Wow, yes, it's funny how it has expanded that way. Integris Resolution Services is my own practice that I offer services, mediation services. And what that is basically is a conflict resolution service. On a broader spectrum, we have people who are going through divorce and they can't quite get a resolution quickly. And so what do? You know, they want to have their day in court, and they want to be able to spread the ugliness in front of a courtroom. And I like to say, when you do that, you relinquish your ability to have hands-on decision-making on your life. Okay. More importantly, on the life of your children. These judges, they're not getting paid to just sit there and hear the latest gossip of your life. I mean, they don't know your life. They don't know your family. They don't know your children. And so going into a courtroom is only doing that, letting go of that opportunity. Now, with mediation, Integris Resolution Services, what I'm offering is that opportunity to make that decision with your partner or former spouse, in order to keep that decision making in your hands. Obviously, there's also benefits to that as well. The financial piece. I mean, it's a lot expensive to go to court and pay out the litigation fees. But mediation offers you that opportunity to hash it out in a neutral environment. I mean, everything is confidential. That's also another benefit. But I did want to start that because it falls into the background of me being involved in juvenile courts, dependency court, and family court. I have experience of making decisions for families that can't make these decisions when there's a child involved. And oftentimes these children end up in foster care. And so moving away from the state side, I'm now just, opening this practice.
Okay. So with that, have you ever had to use mediation services yourself? Is that something that you've ever had to do, or would you, if you were in a situation like the clients that you serve, would you choose to use mediation over going through the court system?
I would, and I'm not saying this as trying to amp up my own business, but quite honestly, I would. And to answer your question, if I've ever used mediation, in my previous divorce, that mediation is court ordered. Before you enter any trial arena, the judge is going to court order you to go through mediation first before bringing it into the courtroom. And at that time, unfortunately, my former spouse at the time did not choose to show up to any of those venues, no, not mediation or the final judgment hearing. So it was defaulted. But, if he had showed up, we would have gone through mediation.
Okay. Well, we're going to switch gears just a little bit, because I love everything that you're doing as far as with your social media feed, with Dreams of My Own, with Integris Resolution Services. But you are our big follower of the show. And last week we talked a little bit about top 5, Thanksgiving foods. Thanksgiving is past, so now we got Christmas coming up right around the corner. What is your top 5? And you better come correct. What is your top 5 Christmas foods? Let's go. Let's talk about it. It better be good.
Well, I am definitely not going to make it controversial like you did with your, chitlins and stuff. But
right. And we say chitlins, not chitterlings. For everybody who was twittering and inboxing me, it's pronounced chitterlings. No, it's chitlins. CHITTLINS. When you're from the hood, it's chitlins. But all right, let's hear this list. I'm listening. Here we go.
Oh my. Okay. Well, I am a foodie and I love meat. So definitely, I love ham. I love turkey. I love cornbread. I would say collard greens, and my number one favorite would be brown beans and rice. I don't know if many people are familiar with that. I know you are, Chris. You and Natalie had the opportunity of eating some of that, so yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good. And we got about 4 minutes before we cut to break. Have you ever had to deal with any holiday hardships, whether it be anxiety, grief and loss, stress, or family fallout? Tell us a quick story, if you have one, of what that looked like, and if you recovered, and if you did, how.
Oh, absolutely. Not to be a dead horse, but yeah, being a single mom, you are always faced with these type of things. You're talking about trying to keep your children happy during this time. And when I was going through it in the first stages of being a single mom, the whole thing about this is all my fault, maybe the kids would have their dad around and be happy and things like that, my kids would read into that. And the hardship of obviously, keeping them happy. And it's not about the gifts. It really isn't. Mm-hmm. But it's about making your kids happy and making keeping as much normalcy as possible. And the way that I was able to get out of it is giving my kids credit. We don't give kids enough credit. And while I was worrying about keeping them happy, they were worried about, is mom happy? Mm-hmm. And that was basically their biggest thing, was to just see me smile. And when you hear your kids speaking to each other about how we can make Christmas easier for mom, or how we can make things easier for mom, that makes you smile. And so it shifted my perception of things during the holidays that, okay, great, but guess what? The biggest blessing is that I have my kids. I'm not living somewhere where, and granted, there are people out there who are doing that, but I'm not as bad as I think I am. I'm able to come home every night. I have shelter, and I can just make my kids smile. That's one thing. I always crack jokes with my kids to the point where I think they don't take me seriously. Yeah. But, that I would say I got out of it just by looking at things through their view.
Wow. So what would you say, because that's an interesting situation that a lot of people don't touch or talk about, what would you say to any single mother that's listening or may watch this show back that's not with the father of their children, trying to make it, and they get a little depressed because they feel like they're alone? What would you say to that single mother, or father for that matter?
Well, anything I say obviously will be easier said than done. But what I would say is, do not put yourself in an isolation situation. Reach out to family members, reach out to friends, do something different. Don't stay home. Thoughts could kill you. Thoughts can bring out negativity and allow for things to manifest where it shouldn't be manifested. And it could also be hurtful to the healing process. I would say reach out. Get rid of the whole I can do bad all by myself type of mentality. Because at this point, you need community. You really do need community. And it also gives you an opportunity to see who really are for you during your most vulnerable time in your life.
Wow. Well, Prophese, thank you for being our, slide in the DM guest of the month. We're going to keep you on, when we open up the Q&A, because there are some questions that came in specifically for you. Appreciate everything that you're doing, all that you're doing with your social media feed, with trying to help and empower and help people take steps in the right direction. We really appreciate it. But we'll be back after this short commercial break with this week's Wednesday's Wisdom Stone. You don't want to miss it. Tell your friends to tune in. Tell your friends to watch because, man, God has given me a word for each and everybody that's listening. So you're watching Stepping Stones Live. We'll be back right after this short commercial break.
We would also like to take this time to acknowledge the brand that makes this all possible, C-Steps, in which CL Thompson is the founder and CEO of. Everyone deserves the chance to walk into a better future. Conquering Steps can make this possible for you because of the help of others. Conquering Steps life coaches offer an array of different type of coaching services. There are individual services, family services, and even corporation services. Our mission is to provide coaching, counseling, and consulting services to those who have been hurt, abused, neglected, unloved, or have gotten off track. We wish to help these individuals, families, or organizations to succeed through our services, sacrifices, and healthy solutions and partnerships. Call us today at 855-707-8377. That is 855-70-STEPS. Every step you take matters, but none more important than the next. Again, that number is 855-707-8377. 855-70-STEPS. So go ahead and head over to csteps.org. Again, that number is 855-707-8377. 855-70-STEPS.
That hunger. Hello, somebody. Somebody might be watching right now saying, I'm hungry for success. But if you're hungry for success, what are you doing to feed the success? What are you feeding? What are you putting into your life to be successful? Some of y'all out there watching right now saying, I want a man. I'm hungry for a man. Where's my husband? But what are you doing to be hungry enough to do what's necessary to get that husband or that wife? I love this because we say we're hungry, but when God has given us a buffet, we ain't trying to eat. I'm gonna just be real. God has laid out a buffet for us. Everything that we need is right here. Everything that you need is on the inside of you, and it's there. But are you hungry enough? Are you hungry to go after it and eat? Some of y'all, and this to my Christian brothers and sisters, some of y'all say y'all are more hungry for Facebook than His book. Y'all reading more tweets than y'all are scriptures. Y'all taking more photos on Instagram than you are getting in the world. So watch this. Are you hungry? Because if you're hungry, you'll start to feed yourself to be successful. You'll start to surround yourself with successful people. You'll start to make the necessary changes in your life to be successful. Hey, welcome back everybody to Stepping Stones Live right here on your social media feed. I'm your host, CL Thompson. Thank you so much for rocking with us, hanging with us, tuning in with us, man. What a show we've had thus far. Man, I thank you, everybody who's commenting on during the break. I was able to see some of the comments, man. Shout out to Darren, man. I see you watching, man. Thanks a lot so much. Holiday crew, everybody that's watching, thank you so much for tuning in to this show. Thank you all for all the inboxes, the text messages and everything that I get about this show really being an encouragement, and for you all letting me know how inspired you are that we're doing this show, and every week that you tune in faithfully to our special guest Prophese, who will be back with us shortly during the Q&A portion. We appreciate her and everything that she's doing, but it's that time. It's the time that a lot of you say you tune in for. It's that Wednesday's Wisdom Stone. You know, I'm glad to be able to for God to give me these messages week in and week out to really bless you and encourage you and help you and even to challenge you a little bit. And this week, my wisdom stone, if I had to title it, I would say, get out of the boat. Oh yeah, get out of the boat. And if you want the biblical reference for where this is coming from, I'll tell you it's in Matthew 14, verses 22 through 32. And if you're familiar with the scripture, you're familiar with your Bible, this is the text. This is where Jesus actually walked on the water, and he asked Peter to come, and Peter walked on the water, and Peter, you know, sank. And then Jesus reached up and grabbed Peter, and Peter, you know, they all got back on the boat. And I've watched a lot of preachers. I've heard a lot of preachers. A lot of people preach on this. A lot of people talk about this. They always talk about the fact that Peter took his eyes off Jesus. Yeah, and that's true. Peter did take his eyes off Jesus. And when he took his eyes off Jesus, Peter sank. And they put the emphasis on the sinking. But can I just tell you, I want to put the emphasis on that Peter got off the boat. Watch this. All the disciples were on the boat when the storm was raging and Jesus was walking on the water. All the disciples were on the boat, but it was only one disciple that when Jesus said, "It's me," he asked Jesus, "Can you bid me to come?" And Peter began to walk on the water. Can I tell you that he got off the boat? What does that mean for you? What does that look like for you? Can I tell you that there are some people that are on the boat right now that aren't willing to do something? Can I tell you that I want to challenge you to get off the boat of mediocrity? Can I tell you I want you to get off the boat of a mediocre mindset? Can I tell you I want you to get off the boat of a welfare mentality? Can I tell you that some of you are on the boat in a bad relationship, and all you need to do is get off the boat? And as you get off the boat and begin to do something, watch this, because the action is you get off the boat, because once you get off the boat, you can begin to do things that are impossible. And as you get off the boat, yes, it might be scary. Yes, it might be hard. Yes, it might seem impossible. But the fact of the matter is, it's the step that you take to get off the boat that makes the miracle happen in the first place. You know, we always talk about Peter sinking, but I want to talk about the dudes that stayed on the boat. It's a lot of people in your life right now that are stuck staying on the boat, scared to make a move, scared to take a chance, scared to do anything about anything that's going on in their life. And they're just shaking and trembling, waiting for the storm to stop. But Peter had sense enough to say, "Lord, if it's you, bid me to come. Let me get off this boat." I'm talking to somebody who's looking to start a business right now. Can I tell you, get off the boat and take a chance to try to start your business? There's somebody right now who is listening saying, "What do I do? What's my next step?" I'm just telling you, get off the boat. Because I don't care about the failure that happens, because watch this, even when you fail, God is there to pick you up. But the problem is those who don't take the risk to get off the boat to even attempt to fail in the first place. Can I tell you that failure will usher you into success? One of my favorite athletes of all time is Michael Jordan. And Jordan said this. He said he failed his way to the top. Jordan said, "It took the failures of my life that helped me become the greatest." But he was willing to fail to get where he had to go. Jordan was willing to get off the boat and take a chance practicing. He was willing to get off the boat and do some extra stuff. Can I tell you that you need to get off the boat that you're on? Because if you stay on the boat, the storm doesn't stop. The storm won't stop as long as you're on the boat. But when you step off the boat and begin to do some things that you've never done, begin to go places that you've never been before, begin to try things that you've never tried, that's when the opportunity comes for you to see the impossible, to do the impossible, and watch things happen. So you've got to get over your fear of not stepping off the boat. Right now, some of y'all boats might be comfortable. Yeah, some of y'all are on cruise ships right now and it might be comfortable for you. But can I tell you that the blessing is not in being comfortable. The blessing is in taking the risk. Can I tell somebody right now that some of y'all boat is the opposite of comfortable, and your boat is rocking right now and it's reeling, your boat is falling apart, but you're too scared to jump off the boat and take the step. Oh, I got a word for somebody. This is going from, and I know we're in Matthew, but can I tell you one of my favorite scriptures? It goes in Acts when Paul said, "Hey, the boat is going to break. We're not supposed to make this journey." And the Bible says that the people who got off the boat, they made it across on the broken pieces. Can I tell you that if your boat is breaking right now and it's crumbling and it's falling apart, some of y'all might have some broken pieces in your life right now. Can I tell you that God will still get you to your destination even with the broken pieces? You just got to get off the boat and allow him to move in your life. And some of you all right now are being challenged right now to get off the boat. And I want to encourage you to get off the boat. Some of you guys are in a boat right now where you're stuck in a conundrum, where you're stuck with trying to make a decision, where you're stuck right now in life, where you're trying to figure out, what do I do next? Where do I go next? You know, I want to try Jesus, but I really don't know how. I really want to get my life together. I really want to stop smoking. I really want to stop drinking. I really want to stop fornicating. I really want to be able to pay my tithes. And some of you are staying on that boat of fear or that boat of perfection. And can I tell you, that boat doesn't even exist. And Jesus is saying right now, I want you to get off the boat and bid and come to me and come to me. I want to tell somebody listening right now that if you don't have Jesus in your life, now's the opportunity where you can get to know him. And he's saying, he bids you to come to him right now. He's bidding you the opportunity to take that step and to walk on water. And guess what? As you begin to come to him and as you begin to know him, hey, guess what? You just might sink a couple times. But it's not the fact that you sink, because the scripture tells us in Matthew, like I was just saying, that when Peter began to sink, Jesus reached out and grabbed him and brought him back up. So this journey, when you get off the boat and start to step into this life with Jesus, trust me, you will fall, but Jesus will be there to pick you up each and every time that you fall in everything that you do. The scripture says a righteous man falls 7 but stands up all the more. But the key is that you just have to get off the boat. I don't know what your boat is today. I don't know what boat you're in life. I don't know what it is. But somebody, the wisdom stone today is you need to get off the boat. You need to do something different. You need to try something you've never tried before. And ultimately, if you've never tried Jesus, I encourage you to try Jesus today. He is the best thing that could ever happen to you. So this week, the wisdom stone is get off the boat. Get off the boat. Don't be like everybody else who stays on the boat. Don't be like everybody else who is just stuck in the storm. Get off the boat, and that will change your life. Man, thank you for tuning in to Wednesday's Wisdom Stone this week. Man, I hope that blessed somebody. I hope you're encouraged. If you have questions about, salvation, about church, this is not about church. Well, this is about a relationship with Jesus. This is not about what church you attend. I would love to point you in the direction of a great church. If you don't have a church home, if you have questions about salvation and what that means, and please feel free to inbox us here at Conquering Steps, man. We want to help you grow spiritually. That's one of the things that we want to do. But our goal is to ultimately help you get plugged in somewhere so you can be all that God desires you to be in every aspect of life. So, man, get off the boat, man. Some of y'all on the boat that you need to make a phone call and call us. Some of y'all on the boat saying, I need to reach out to them at Conquering Steps. I love what they're doing. Don't be afraid to reach out. Get off the boat of fear and step into the boat of greatness. But that's it. I'm not going to beat a dead horse anymore with that message. But, man, this is my favorite part of the show coming up right here. It's the part where we get to interact with each and every one of you. I love that you guys submit questions week in and week out. Some of you guys private, some of you guys comment. I love that. And also, we have Prophecy should be back on the line. Prophecy, are you there?
I am.
Wow. Well, this is the part of the show that I love. This is my favorite part of the show because we get to interact with the people. And I always love throwing it back to the mothership, the executive producer of this show, John Mars. Yo, John, what are the people talking about? Are the people talking?
The people are talking, brother. I got a few questions in the Stepping Stones inbox right now. You want me to ask one of them?
Yeah, man. So I'm ready. I love hearing what the people say. So, hey, also, if you got a question, don't hesitate to comment in the comment section. Don't hesitate to reach out. Please do that. We want me and Prophecy are here to answer some questions. So, yeah, John, I'm ready, man. Shoot some of those questions.
All right, we got another question from Anonymous here. If me and my wife are in divorce proceedings already, can we suggest to the courts that we'd rather do mediation than to continue to go back and forth in court?
Prophecy, that sounds like a question for you. That sounds
yes.
like
Yes. And the answer is yes. Mediation doesn't have to happen during a proceeding in court. Mediation can happen prior to that. You can test out all your different alternative options before you even petition a court for divorce. So the answer is yes. The court, if let's say you do go through mediation and your spouse and yourself, you're able to come to an agreement, that agreement is what you will bring to the court so that they can incorporate that into your final decree. So the answer is yes.
Oh, wow. That's good to know. That's good to know. So essentially you're saying that if they're going through their divorce proceedings and they want to do mediation instead, that's something that they can do and that's an option for them.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's not. They're not bound to go through the entire ordeal or the litigation process. They can even stop the process in court, kind of pause it for a second to try out mediation. So, I mean, the court is always welcome to that.
Wow, that's good to know. Any other questions, man, John, we got from the people? I like it.
Yes, we got another anonymous question here. What if a family member refuses to be honest about the root of the issue? This is discussing what you were discussing earlier. So what if a family member refuses to be honest about the root of the issue? What do you do?
It's a really good question. So if you missed the first part of the show, I was dealing with how to overcome, family feuds and family fights and issues. And I talked about that you have to get to the core of the issue, because if you don't get to the core of the issue, tension will arise again and the fight will still occur. And so, unless you're able to be open and honest, there's no way that the healing can really occur. And so if that person refuses to be open and honest about the issue, you just have to let it go until they're really ready to open up and tell you what the real core of the issue is. But let me say this as well. Don't assume that you know what the core of the issue is. Sometimes we can make the mistake of saying, I know what the core of the issue is, and we're waiting for them to put a rubber stamp on what we feel is right. And that may not necessarily be the case. And so don't assume that just because you think the core of the issue is one thing and they're saying it's another thing, or they're saying that it's not it, that you're right and that they're absolutely wrong, because that may not be the case. Sometimes you have to really listen. That's what goes back to my point number 2 when I was dealing with that, is you have to have an understanding. And so just because you think one thing's the core issue, and you think that that's what the core issue is, and they're not saying that, doesn't mean that that's really the core issue. You have to have a level of understanding and compromise to really know what that core issue is. So if that person is not willing to, give you that core issue, there's nothing you can do about it. But also don't make the mistake of trying to predetermine what the core of the issue is on your own without really hearing the person out, because they may be telling you what the core issue is and you may be refusing to hear it.
Prophecy, would you like to add to that?
Well, I agree with Chris on that. And in the sense of mediation, that is going to be expected, where one person is going to be refusing to discuss certain things. But the good thing about mediation is that both of them are coming in already knowing that at the end of the day, it's about negotiating something. So the conflict has to come out. And the essence of what I try to tell my clients is, you know what? Check your feelings at the door, because we got work to do. You have to check your feelings at the door. A lot of times, how are conflicts manifested in the first place? Because one person felt a certain way and another person felt a certain way. And so they both want to hold on to the ability of making a decision or, hashing out an issue based on that feeling, that they felt disrespect or they felt, deceived or something.
Right.
So you got to check your feelings at the door in order to make things work.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. And just another thing that I like to tell people, that our emotions can sometimes blind us. And so make sure, like Prophesy said, you check your feelings at the door, so to speak, or you check your feelings before you go to this family member and you get emotions out of the way. You want to make sure that you're level-headed and you're not being moved by your emotions. I deal with a lot of people who let their emotions run them, and that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. You can, you can't control how you feel, but you don't have to let how you feel control you.
Yep.
We got another question here. So what if a family member has burned you over and over? How many chances do you give them?
Okay. So Prophecy, do you want to go first? I heard a little chuckle. Did you want to go first? Or do you want me to address that?
Wow. You know, the whole word chances to me is all relative to a whole lot of things. You know, bottom line, you have, if you're the person that you're free and clear and are willing to work things out and the other person does not want to, you need to go on and live your life. Because the burden of carrying on, the burden of constantly being reminded when you see this person. You know, I once heard sometimes that some people just don't want you to enjoy your peace. You know, you could be walking out in the street, you could be going to the store, and you're laughing it up. You see, or someone else who has a conflict with you sees you coming on the opposite end, and they're like, let me go ahead and just mess up her peace today. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? That is so much. And, you know, I don't know how to answer how many chances to give that person. I think you need to give yourself a chance of moving on with a peaceful life, because you can't hold on that burden. You just can't.
Yeah. So it's a difficult question to ask, but I will take the godly approach, but also a very practical approach when it comes to that. Number one, the scripture tells us, man, how many times should we forgive? And it's endless, because we've been forgiven countless times. That doesn't mean be a fool, though. So if a family member continues to burn you over and over and over again, I'll tell you, like my granny told me, letting go and letting God is not giving up on a person. And I'll share this story, you know, because it kind of brings it all together of how many chances, or putting somebody in God's hands, because you can't do anything for anybody who doesn't want to really change or have the help or get where they need to go. So if they continue to burn you over and over and over again, sometimes you just have to put them in God's hands. And trust me, God can do a lot more with that individual than you can. And so very quickly, I heard this story, and if you follow me on social media, you've seen this story posted. But there was a mother who was taking her son to the grocery store. And, you know, as his mother was taking her son to the grocery store, you know, they went in. And as they went in, she told him, don't touch anything, don't do anything, you know, just do what I say and we're going to get up out of here. And so that's exactly what they began to do. The son did everything that the mama told him. They got to the checkout counter, and the clerk had watched the son, you know, do everything that the mama said. And he asked the little boy, do you want some candy? The little boy said, no, I don't want any candy. He said, well, you know, you deserve some candy. Can I get, you know, do you want some candy? He said, no, I don't want any candy. The mother said, well, son, I told him, sir, that not to ask for anything, but she said, baby, you can get some candy. He said, no, I don't want any candy. So the man said to him, he said, well, can I give you some candy? And the little boy got excited. The little boy said, yeah, you can give me some candy. So the man stuck his hand in the bag, grabbed a big hand of candy, gave the kid some candy, and the kid was delighted. So as they were walking out, the mother looked at the son and she said, boy, you know, you almost made a fool out of me. That man was trying to give you some candy, or telling you to get some candy. You didn't want to take no candy. Why didn't you take no candy? He said, Mama, I did some thinking. And she said, what are you talking about? You did some thinking. He said, I thought about something. She said, well, tell me what you thought about. And he said this. The little boy said this. He said, I looked at my hand and I looked at the man's hand, and I realized the man's hand was bigger than my hand, and he can get more out of the situation than I could. Can I tell you that by putting people in God's hands, they can get more out of that person than you can? So sometimes you just have to take your hands off and let them be and let God deal with them. I remember when I was getting in trouble a lot, my great granny said, boy, I wash my hands, I'll put you in God's hands. And it was the best thing she ever did. It didn't mean she didn't love me. It didn't mean that she didn't want to be there for me, but it was enough. I had burned her enough that she said, you know what? I'm putting you in God's hands. So to that person, yeah, you give them chances. Yeah, you forgive them, but sometimes you just have to put people in God's hands. John, sounds like we got another question.
Yeah, this one's actually, this one's in the comment section. I will let her remain anonymous. It says, me personally, and this is talking about Wednesday's Wisdom Stone. Me personally, I held steady in the rocking boat, and Jesus turned it around and settled the storm. I listened to the Holy Spirit on it, but many times my flesh and the world kept telling me to get off the boat. Your word, CL, everyone's blueprint is different. So she's referring to your words being every blueprint is different. So what would you say to someone that doesn't know when to get off?
Yeah, you know, the cool thing, and please don't hear what I'm not saying. So the cool thing is, watch this. If you stay on the boat, God can still come and get you. You know what I mean? God can still come and get you. I commend Peter for taking a step to get off the boat. But however, the disciples all still made it. If you read the rest of that story, Jesus took Peter and they all got back on the boat. So sometimes God will work it out for your good, because scripture tells us that God will work it all out for your good. So what I was really essentially saying when I said get off the boat is that sometimes you just got to take that chance and be willing to take that chance. And that chance is really faith. Faith is something that we do. We take the step. We don't know whether we can't see the staircase. We buy the car. We don't have a license yet. We do something that we don't know. So God will let you know when it's the right time to get off the boat. And even if you get off at the wrong time, just know that he's still there to, catch you when you fall. And he just wants you to take that step.
Prophesy, you got anything you want to add to that?
I agree. And the one thing that comes to my mind is the scripture that talks about, look at the birds in the air, how, they're, what are they doing basically? God takes care of them. And we ought to continue that regardless of what's going on in our lives, the conflicts that are going on in our lives, the troubles that we have. Just letting it go and leaving it to God is the best thing you can do. God sees all and he knows all, and he's already there at the end of what's going to happen. And so letting go is just one more thing you can take off your plate. I mean, who best to let it go to than the God himself?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Any more questions, man? We got a few minutes left. I want to give you guys a little foretaste of what's going on for future shows. Next month, as we go into December and the Christmas season, of course, we'll be talking about Christmas stuff and things like that, dealing with some mental health type of things. But also, I want to give you the roadmap to building up momentum going into 2018. So each and every week, I will be giving you a tip to help you build momentum going into 2018. 2 years ago, I toured and I did the Motivating Momentum tour. I did Motivating Momentum, and it changed a lot of lives. And I gave people the practical tips to move into this year, actually 2017, with positive momentum. I'm a living witness that I can say that I've done those things that I said that I taught, because the message came to me first. And 2017 has been one of the best years of my life. And I've talked to other clients, even as soon as yesterday, that said that 2017 was the best year that they've had. And so I am going to give you those tips on how to move into 2018 with the same momentum, so you can make 2018 an amazing year for your life. Also, next week, we're going to be giving away, we'll announce the winner for November, who won the Visa gift card for listening to the show, watching the show, commenting, sending questions. So we definitely are going to announce that. Also, come January, you don't want to miss the show in January. I'm dealing with finances. I'm going to help you get your money right. We're going to have special guests from financial advisors to people to tell you how to get your money right, how not to pay the stupid tax, how if you want to get into stocks and things like that. We're going to deal with how to manage your money. So come January, all of January, I'm dedicating to finances and helping you financially. So you definitely want to do that. Come February, like I said, this is just a foretaste. I am dealing with love. February, we got Valentine's Day. So everything in February, the show is going to be related to marriage, couples, singles. I'm going to teach you about some relationship stuff. Everybody knows that's my heart. That's what I do. It's going to be great. Conquering Steps. We have some events coming up. January, we have an event. February, we have an event. So be on the lookout. Make sure you stay totally locked in, not just to Stepping Stones, but to Conquering Steps, to me, C.L. Thompson, because we've got some great things coming up. Prophecy's got some great things coming up in the future, so we want to do that. So thank you, Prophesy, for being on the show. I hope you had a good time.
I had a great time, as always, and I appreciate you inviting me. I had such a good time.
Yeah, we just had to slide in your DM a little bit, and we're glad. And so just so you know, we're watching out there. So next month, it could be you. We can slide in your DM and you could be a guest right here on the show. We love to have you. But with that being said, it is time for us to get out of here. So until next week, man, we love you. And remember, your next step can change your world.
Change the world.
Of course, Jesus can change your life. We'll be back same time next week. God bless. Peace.
mute your mics for now.